So this training is building relationships to increase booking and sales workshop. So our speakers today, Laura Avery is an advanced director from Nevada and has quite a fan club. She's been with Pampered Chef for over 17 years. She was a stay-at-home mom with her 3-year-old when she went to a party and wanted everything in the kit and agreed to do a few catalog parties. After one successful party on her own and earning even more free products, she decided to stick around. 17 years later, she will tell you she absolutely loves helping families with mealtime solutions and helping others change their lives in this business. As a top recruiter who has earned excellence and a top recruiter in the Duke organization for the past several years, you can clearly see her passion for sharing the business. Besides the friendships and the travel, training is one of the most favorite aspects of her business. Laura has been married for over 21 years to a very supportive husband, Jeff, and has a 20-year-old son, Kyle, who is in college, and an 18-year-old daughter, Vanessa, who will be a senior in high school this year. In her spare time, Laura runs a parenting teens group and teaches and trains others to teach a self-worth class with curriculum she created for a nationwide nonprofit. Kristen Slick is a director from Illinois and joined Pampered Chef in August of 2015 with the goal of being able to pay for a Disney vacation. This was after she left the traditional classroom the year prior to stay home with her kids. Kristen taught 7th grade in a low-income district for 7 years. Kristen has been married to her high school sweetheart, Brian, for 12 years, and they have 2 kids. Annie is 9, and Jack is 6. They are a very busy family of 4 with baseball, hockey, ice skating, and piano schedules, Girl Scout and Boy Scout activities, and an active church member. Kristen promoted to director in June of 2017. Since that promotion, she graduated the LEAD program in 2018, earned excellence in sales twice, and earned level 2 for Coronado and Hawaii, and has already earned the Disney trip. With both kids in school full-time now, Kristen created an additional business last year called Kristen's Classroom Kitchen, creating specialized programs for libraries and park districts. This allows her to still use her teaching background and teach more families to make the most of mealtime. Please give Laura and Kristen a warm Pampered Chef welcome.
All right, so we are talking about relationships, right? This is a relationship business. How many of you believe this is a relationship business? Okay, good, you're in the right room. All right, awesome. How many of you, and I'm gonna read just so I don't forget, you guys. How many of you work every single day to make sure that you have a relationship with your customers, with your team, and with pretty much everyone that you are running into? Is this something that you guys are thinking about daily? Okay, good. Some of you are. And for those of you who are not, I'm glad you're here, because this is what we're here to talk about. It is so important to our business that you build that trust so that people know that you're reliable and that you're genuine. That's what keeps them coming back to you, and not just whichever Pampered Chef consultant they run into or see on Facebook or whatever. So, anyhow, all right. If you have ever had a past customer that you realized was working with another consultant, this might have really hit home with you at some point. Has anybody ever had that? Because I know I have, and it's such a bummer, right? So this is why it's so important that we build those relationships, right, Kristen?
Absolutely. Okay. And so I wanted to share just a quick aha moment with you about building relationships online. Yes. But so I actually am, if you guys follow me on Facebook, I'm really active there. I have a business page, a VIP page, an Instagram. I use all of it, Pinterest, all of it. And so I actually post regularly. My team knows this very well. I preach that as well, that you need to stay in front of your customers. And so back in, what was the $39 special? The March one? March. So back in March, I posted the $39 special. On the first day of the month, I woke up at 5:30 in the morning to get it on my page. Not 20 minutes later, did somebody that I didn't even know was on my page liked it. And I was like, I've never seen from her before. In fact, she was my maternity leave sub when I was teaching. And so I didn't even know that she followed me. And so what did I do? I knew she liked it. I knew she was awake. So I messaged her right then and there and said, hey, are you interested in joining the Pampered Chef team? Can I answer any questions? Now, I will say she has still not yet joined the team, but she has had some health things kind of take over, and she's newly pregnant as well herself. So there's some just different life things happening. However, if I hadn't been actively considering my business and knowing on the first day of the month that I needed to wake up and post those specials or post something, she would have never been on my radar, and now I don't have this open communication with her anymore. So being that active member of my own group led to this great lead and reconnecting with someone that was my maternity leave sub 6 years ago. Okay, so that is just a really cool aha moment that I really stuck with me to make sure and to preach to my team that you need to stay on top of what you're doing day in and day out with your business. Your business goes where you go.
And can I add to that real quick?
Yeah.
Just because I have someone in the room who was a very similar situation. I'm very active on social media as well, and I try to build those relationships, and I did a live opportunity event with another director friend of mine. We went live. We were really stupid doing this did you know thing, and we were silly and whatever. And I just happened to have a guest who didn't come to a party but had ordered off a party, and we connected on social media, and she asked some questions. And she's here today as one of my consultants. Debbie, wave your hand. Wave your hand. She doesn't know I'm talking about her right now. So, but we had never even met, and now she's a part of my team, and I love her dearly. And so you just never know. Yeah.
You don't.
All right. Am I up? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So the relationship with your customers is going to begin at your party. It doesn't matter if it's live or it's virtual. That's where that's going to happen. And that's going to happen by authentically engaging through meaningful conversation. This means that you need to ask questions that require more than a yes or no answer. So if they're walking in the door, you're asking them about what they do, how they know the host, all of those good questions that are not yes or no. If it is in a virtual party, you're doing the same thing, right? You're asking questions in your post to hopefully get them to answer things with, a longer answer, and then you're going to take it a step further and comment on their comment, maybe with another question, so that you can actually get some conversation going, which will build that relationship. Let's see. The other thing is, once you do that, then when you're, especially in virtual parties, but in live parties as well, when they start engaging in that conversation, you now can build that party around those questions. So for those of you who are, worried about the whole Facebook jail and it not being original content, you should be paying attention to when people are commenting and asking questions or answering your questions, so that you can then say, oh, they want to know about quick meal ideas, or they have kids or whatever, so that you can schedule your parties around your guests so that you are helping them, and again, then they feel like you're personally helping them one-on-one.
Absolutely. So I have a quick question too, beyond, just at the party. We have established the relationship at the party. We are asking questions. We are connecting with people. But how many of us after the party use customer connection newsletter? How many of you use Customer Connection newsletter? So, Customer Connection newsletter is an important feature of eBiz tools. And you need to personally invite everyone at your party to be a part of your newsletter, then your business page and your VIP group. Now, the reason why this is so important is because why are we even here? It's to build relationships. It's to stay in front of them all the time. They see me on Facebook. They see me on Instagram. They see me on Pinterest. They see me in email. Then sometimes they see me in regular mail too if they win something, or need a new catalog or something like that. Engaging them through the newsletter, whether Pampered Chef sends it or you are sending a personal email, is super important. And I know Laura and I were talking about this before the session even started. Before I came to conference, Pampered Chef sent out an email. I had 3 people respond to Pampered Chef's email. One had an issue with her ice cream maker, one wanted to book a party, and one wanted to order something. Okay, and so having your customers signed up for your customer connection email in your eBiz tools is incredibly important, because if you're not staying constant on social media, which we're going to talk about in a second, they're at least getting the visual of the email in front of them from you personally. And there's some really good stuff in those emails. There's recipes, there's cooking tips, there's videos, there's blog links. And did you know that Pampered Chef puts out an actual communication calendar so you can see what days they're sending things? It's all in the Stir article. So those are really great ways for you to stay in front of your customers without you even really having to try. You literally have to group your customers into an e-newsletter group in your page. And if you actually, let's see, sorry, was there going to be a video? Wasn't there a quick video on how to do that? Anyway, if you go to your contacts, miscommunication. Miscommunication. If you go to your contacts within your customer, in your consultant connection or consultant corner page, there's going to be a video that pops up that shows you how to add all of your customers to that newsletter. It is the simplest way for you to stay in front of your customers, and Pampered Chef does all the work for you. Now, if you want to send emails beyond that, awesome. I do it all the time. What I would recommend, though, is not sending it on a day that Pampered Chef is already sending an email out. You don't want to overload your customers, and you want them to pay attention to the content that you are sending. So if you're hosting a special workshop, or if you have a mystery host party going on, or if you have some special incentive, or you're celebrating something, make sure you check the Stir communications calendar first to make sure that today they're not sending something out, and you maybe may send it tomorrow when there isn't an email going out from home office. Okay, so that's super important. Let's see. Okay, the other thing is adding people to your business pages and groups. I just want to make sure. All right. Business pages and groups. We're going to go over a little bit more explicitly about the differences between business pages and groups, but that is something that you want to ask them as well. You want to invite them to do that. In fact, every single customer that ever orders from me gets a text message from me asking them if they would like to be if they'd like to join my team, then if they want to book a party, and then I invite them to my business or group page. Okay, so it goes down the ladder after I make the sale to them. So you want to make sure that you're doing that. And then as a result of the Facebook changes and challenges, if you have not seen this communication from Pampered Chef, we're encouraging everyone to create a business page and run your business from a business page. Facebook is going to reward you for running business material from a business page. It will penalize you for running business material from a personal page. So make sure that if you don't know how to do that, there are probably, 5 different videos and tutorials that Pampered Chef has put out explaining how and why to do business Facebook pages. And then I really, really liked this actually for social media, how you take pictures at your live parties. Laura is primarily live, and my pendulum has swung virtually, but we both have experience in it. But I really like this idea, so why don't you share that real quick?
I stole it from Michelle Anderson. And so I printed up a piece of paper that says host with the most, and I put it in a sheet protector, and at every party, as soon as I get there, I tell my host, I tell my guests, don't let me forget. I need a picture with our host tonight and your entire group. And so before I leave, I take a picture with that entire group with the host holding her little sign, and they're all very excited. And then that night I go home and say, oh my gosh, I had so much fun at Susie Q's party. And I tag anyone I have, and then I send my host a message and say, go on there and tag all your friends so that they can see, whatever. And so she tags all her friends, and guess what? It shows up in all of their pages that we just had this super fun party. And then I've had people go, oh, I wish I'd have been at that. And I'm like, oh, let's have one at your house. And I message them. So it's just one more way people like to see them and their friends together. So yeah, it's fun.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, so now we need to talk a little bit about, that was all at the party stuff, building relationships, right? So now that you've had a party and you've built those relationships, we need to make sure it doesn't stop there. I have a good friend who says, don't be the pampered chef one night stand. You want to build a long-term relationship with these people. So let's do that after the party. So the first and easiest way after the party is the 222 customer care method. Hopefully you've all heard of this and you know about this, and if you don't, there is a ton of training out there on the 222 approach. And so you can go look that up, and basically it's just talking about 3 quick calls where you do 2 days after the party, 2 weeks after the party, and 2 months after the party, following up with them on a regular basis. You can put those reminders in your calendar, you can put them in your electronic thing, whatever that is for you, so that you're following up. And we're not going to go into detail on that, but just know that under PC University and under customer care, there's a whole big training on that.
And I just want to point out too, like it's called 222, but I know personally I like to do 333.
All right.
You know, and so as long as you have a system in place that shows you when you should be following up with people, and the reason I do 333 is because sometimes I'm not on direct ship now, I'm on just a regular, you know, shipment of you know, close the party, all the orders get sent. Sometimes it takes a while for the host to get the packages to the guest, and so all of a sudden I'm messaging them 10 or 14 days afterwards. They're like, I don't know, I didn't even pick it up from her yet. And so I've kind of accustomed it to more of a 333, but as long as you have a system in place, that's what you should be using to build your relationships. So we're going to talk a little bit about social media best practices, because that is really where the world is going. We have to really adapt ourselves to changing in this world, and we cannot have a sky is falling attitude, okay? If Facebook went away tomorrow, what would happen to your business? Okay, so that's something to think about, because I mean, you got to think worst case scenario, especially when you're having your own business. You have to remember too that social media are free public platforms that are constantly changing, and we have to adapt to ensure it is used successfully for our businesses. Even if we don't want to play by their rules, we don't like live video, I don't like making photo collages, they don't care what you like. They know what they want to use to engage their base, okay? That is what you need to follow suit with. In social media, whether it be on Instagram, Facebook, even in Pinterest, you can create a pretty dynamic page in Pinterest too. Make sure you have a conversation-dense content. Okay, so with like Laura was saying earlier, you don't want yes or no questions. You want, you know, I actually have like a fun one that I posted yesterday in a virtual party. Like, what would your ultimate ice cream sundae look like? Okay, and it's not clickbait, it's not asking them to do, it's just a conversation to get people talking, just as if you were at a live party, okay, because all of a sudden you're making ice cream at a live party and everyone starts talking about their favorite ice cream toppings. It's just a way to get people talking. Conversation-dense communities. Also small, dense communities. They are rewarding smaller, denser communities with lots of conversation. And communities that use Facebook features, polling, live video, watch parties, okay? Uploading original content, not linking to YouTube. In fact, YouTube is Facebook's #1 competitor. So not linking to YouTube, creating your own, you know, uploading it via Facebook. They're rewarding that kind of stuff, which will help you then build the relationships with your customers, because you are going to be out there in their news feeds. Also, it's really important to be aware of what you're posting on your personal page, business page, group page. You are the storefront for Pampered Chef. I know that I have worked with consultants in the past that have had a very hard time separating their personal life from their business life, and they're posting a lot of political, religious, you know, everything that they, you know, could be kind of, it's a conversation starter, but not in the way we want to run our businesses. It's stuff you just need to, especially having this business, stay away from. And I'll give you a prime example. My family, I'm from this area, I'm from the Midwest. My family's a hunting family. They hunt deer and pheasant. I was just vacationing in Wisconsin, and they were doing target practice with their very legal, you know, ammunition. But I didn't post it on social media. I did not want to offend anybody. I didn't want to offend my vegan friends. I didn't want to offend people that are anti-gun or pro-gun. I didn't want to start that conversation. I did not post that activity, and I left it alone, okay? Again, just be careful of what you're posting. Social media should also be social, okay? What I like to do is I actually reserve about 10 or 15 minutes while I'm laying in bed in the morning or at bed at night, or we all go to the bathroom during the day usually. So I call it Facebook eavesdropping. And I go through and I comment on all kinds of posts. And it's all personal stuff. I'm not bringing up Pampered Chef. Maybe somebody just bought a new house, and I can comment, oh my gosh, it's beautiful, congratulations, because then they're knowing that I'm taking a vested interest in their personal life. And guess what? It had nothing to do with Pampered Chef, even though I could have brought up having a housewarming party, okay? And maybe we'll have that conversation later, but I go on there about 10 or 15 minutes a day, and I call it Facebook eavesdropping, and I do my best to be social on social media, and I'm not just a talking head on social media. Okay, and branding, what you do, your posts directly affect the brand. And so what you see kind of up on the screen is something that Laura and I worked on together when all kind of the Facebook stuff happened. And we really wanted to show our customers ways that they could follow us on social media, how and why they'd follow us on social media, and the different just venues and what it kind of looks like as social media. And this is how we created our brand. So my brand is Slick Meal Memories, period. I don't even have anything about Pampered Chef really in there because of my other venues with the classroom kitchen and things like that. But Slick Meal Memories, it's about semi-homemade meals. And if people went to my page, they could see that that was what it was about. And Laura created, again, her original content. She was inspired by my content, but created her own original content to use and didn't just copy and paste from me. She also actually kind of tweaked how she explained things to her followers so that she was, again, creating her own brand, and if people resonated more with her than me, they could find the consultant that fit for them. Let's see.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
So what I just wanted to share is, yes, I see stuff from people all the time that I like, as do you, but I don't copy and paste. So yes, I saw Kristen say, I was like, what a brilliant idea. And so I went and created my own little graphic. It's not quite as cute as hers, but I created my own little graphic, and I said, okay, I don't do that, but I do this, and I changed it and whatever. But so you can be inspired by people. You can take an idea, make it your own. That's okay. Just don't copy and paste everything. So I kind of wanted to share that because I steal from people all the time. I don't have a whole lot of original ideas, but I can take something and tweak it to fit me, and it's all good.
Absolutely. And so I was talking to somebody earlier about the difference between a business page and a VIP group. And so I wanted to point that out too. Pampered Chef says business page, okay? Awesome. But guess what? I still had a 900-member VIP group. Okay, what was I going to do with that? Would I just convert everyone to a business page? No, I integrated them. So I created my business page, and what I look at my business page is my storefront. If you were to come to my store, what would you plastered on the outside of my store? Specials, right? Mm-hmm. You would get a gist of what my kind of store was about. You would get, I even have it written up here. It says my business page serves as my storefront. It will have general recipes shared from Instagram, hosting info, Pampered Chef specials, and cooking class info. So as if you were to come to my door and see my cooking class info before you open the door. My VIP group is more of being inside of my store. Okay, it's where I host my live What's Cooking K episodes. It's where you get daily bites. It's where you get blog links. It's where you can share your own mealtime memories. It's more conversational, what Facebook wants, a conversation to happen. Whereas a business page is a little bit more static. They can come and they can view and they can get information. Group is more dynamic. And then Instagram's a whole nother, day in the park, but I love Instagram, and it's kind of a day in the life snapshots, and I post a lot of original recipes there as well. So that's going to be the difference between your business page VIP group, and yours is pretty similar to that as well, but really I like storefront, go inside to my group, and let's have a conversation.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, and not everyone that's on my business page is in my group.
No.
And vice versa. Well, it depends too because of all the changes. So, but not everyone that's there are two different places. Maybe they only want to be one place. And then share your everyday real life on your personal page. How many of you, when you do parties, do you friend your host on Facebook? I know I do. My hosts consistently interact with my personal life. They love to know that I am a busy mom of two and that I do this and this and this and that. Some days, you know what? The day before I left for conference, my dishwasher broke and my ceiling fan wasn't working and this and they can resonate with that and connect with you on a new level. Again, building relationships. So share your personal life on your personal timeline and make it everyday and genuine. But like I said before, be careful with the content that you're sharing. Make sure that it's adding value. Make sure it's providing joy. Make sure you're providing that connection. It's something you need to think about day in and day out.
All right, so real quick before I go on to my next thing, it just hit me. So my good friend Jody was telling me, how many of you use Pinterest to look for stuff? How many of you are really good at putting your own business stuff on there? So not as many. So here's a really great idea. You can go into Pinterest, you can create a board on the Quick Cooker, and you can go then to the Pampered Chef site and put in the search bar Quick Cooker recipes and pull up all the recipes. When you pull up a recipe, one of the options at the bottom is to pin it. Pin it to that board, put all of them in there, and then in your intimate group, go in and post the link to that board so that your VIPs and Quick Cooker, if maybe you have a Quick Cooker group, whatever, can then click and go to that board and have all those recipes. So it was just a fun Pinterest idea, and you can do that with anything. Create a board for your rock crocs and whatever. So that is genius. My friend Jody is a genius, I'm just saying. So you go into Pinterest. If you have a Pinterest account, you'll need a Pinterest account. You're going to create a board for whatever product, right? And so recipes for the Quick Cooker, whatever you want to call it. And then when you go to the Pampered Chef site, you're going to, in the search, you're just going to search for the product and pull up all the recipes. And then every recipe you pull up has a
Pin it.
pin it. You're going to pin it, and it'll say which board, my Quick Cooker recipe board, and then you'll have all of them right there for them.
Well, and you also can create the social media presence in Pinterest too, because it shows up in people's Pinterest news feeds. So not only are you sharing the link to your Pinterest in your VIP group, but you're also creating the content in people's news feeds and like, oh, that chicken and teriyaki rice looks pretty interesting. I'm going to pin it. And guess what? It's linked back to your Pampered Chef website.
Right. Yes.
So if they go on your Instagram, so you could do a thing on your Instagram saying, oh, I just created a Pinterest board.
Yes. So let's hold questions till the end, but yes. Yes, you can absolutely go into Instagram and say, go look at my board for Quick Cooker recipes. Yes, it's perfect. Okay, so only because we're on such a short time, but you're good. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about being active on social media and being active on a consistent schedule. Do people know that you are open for business? If you had a business, brick and mortar, would you just show up occasionally, not have any set hours, people not know when they could come in and shop? Do people know that you are open for business? So you've got to come up with some sort of a consistent schedule, whatever that is. Whether it's daily or weekly or whatever, you need to make sure that you're on there consistently. Make that a part of your workday. I have had to drill this into my husband's head because he thinks I'm just, sitting on Facebook and playing around. I'm not looking at cat videos. I'm actually working. And he doesn't understand that this is really business. And even if it's Facebook stalking where I'm going and I'm commenting on people's stuff, I am doing it with a purpose. So I will tell you that, I am kind of a social media junkie, but I really feel like that is a big part of my business. So with posts, I want you to keep in mind that you want to mix up the type of post that you're posting. So you don't always want to be, buy this, you need to have that. You want to mix this up. So you're going to do, you can do personal posts, you can do recipes, you can do tips, You can show tools. You can have something funny on there. You can have something about your family. And again, I'm talking in my business page. Now my personal page, I'm mixing it up as well, but not going to be doing a bunch of product-y kind of stuff. But still, you want to mix up the type of posts that you're doing. When you're posting, you want to do a few key things. You want to make sure that you're doing some sort of engaging posts that people can respond to. Again, talking about that engaging question, a call to action. So again, you want to hopefully get them involved and commenting, answering questions so that you can then continue that conversation. When you do that, Facebook rewards you by letting it show up in people's feeds. When it becomes social, it's gonna show up in people's feeds. You might have heard this from me before. If you go in and you are commenting on somebody's post, how many words does it need to be at least? 5 words or more. Don't just yes, no, happy face, heart, none of that. Have fun. No, we're gonna 5 words or more. You can come up with it, I promise. I know it's hard sometimes, but you could do it, 5 words or more. Like Kristen talked about, you wanna make sure you're using the Facebook or Instagram features like the live polls and stories. If you don't know how to use them, go figure it out. You can figure it out, I promise. I'm old, I can figure it out. Y'all can figure it out, I promise.
There is a plethora of free information.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Don't go pay for stuff. Not only does
We're
Pampered
gonna get
Chef
there. Yeah, we got lots
provide
on
for
them.
that,
Yep,
but
yeah.
go find the free stuff.
Yeah. All right, so you want to avoid asking them to comment. You don't want to say, please comment below. Facebook's gonna just knock that right out. You don't want to do the options that have the 1, 2, 3, 4, pick those kind of things, the emojis. You don't want that. You want to ask them engaging questions that require an actual answer. I know the other ones seem fun and cute and whatever, but it really doesn't do you any good. So what Pampered Chef has found is that if you do that where you're giving them an option or telling them to comment, that they see that and it's perceived as potential engagement bait. And that's not what we're going for. We don't want to be shut down because we're doing that. You want to avoid posts that ask guests to message you with a response. Don't tell them, message me, send me a private message, because they catch that and they know. All right, you want to post stories.
That's a recent change. I hear some mumblings about that. That's a recent thing that we have been instructed to talk to you guys about and has been coming up in social media training, asking people to message you. If it comes up in conversation within the comments, awesome. But if you have a guessing game that says how many M&Ms are in this manual food processor, message me your answer. It's gonna get booted from Facebook, or it's just not gonna show up for people. Less people are gonna see it. It's gonna be perceived as click engagement bait, and so that is a brand new kind of thing that is come to fruition.
How many of you are using stories? Are you guys posting stories?
Facebook or Instagram?
Both. Yep. They all have stories now. Okay. If you're not, this is something I'm going to encourage you, and this is why. When you post a story, and if you open your Facebook, you'll see at the top that so-and-so has a new story. Those are showing up on everybody's thing. Everybody sees those. So it doesn't have to show up in a feed somewhere that might get buried. The stories are at the top. And so everyone's looking at those stories like, oh, Laura's got a new story. What's she doing? Whatever. And they'll click on those stories. So use the stories. That's what they're for. And then go live. How many of you hate going live? Get over it. I'm serious. The more you do it, the easier it gets. Go and fumble through. People don't care. Just go do it. You've got to go live. When you go live, it shows up immediately in everyone's feeds, and people want to know what the heck you're doing when you're going live. When you see someone's going live, you're like, oh, what are they doing? I do. Everyone does. It shows up. Go live. So yeah, you've got to do that. And Kristen, what was the statistic that you heard about going live?
So I recently did a social media training with Belinda Ellsworth, and her social media expert said that going live, Facebook loves it so much that it gives you 66% more qualified leads. So going live.
So get over it. Go do it. Do it. Go live.
What do you mean by 66 more?
It's going to show up in 66% more news feeds to get engagement than if you were just to post a regular video.
That's a big number.
And remember, because Facebook's biggest competitor is YouTube, so they want original video content on their business platform, which is Facebook.
Right. All right, so here's another thing. How many of you, see which way do I want to go with this, how many of you are junkies like me and you scroll through Facebook, okay, great, I've gotten through a lot of stuff there, and then I flip over and I go to Instagram and I'm flipping through all of that.
Because you get bored at Facebook,
Right.
and then you go to
now
Instagram.
I'm going to go to Instagram and go check out what's happening on Instagram, right?
Yep.
And then you start seeing the exact same posts that you just saw on Facebook, or vice versa, right? How many of us, it's annoying. That is a business faux pas. Do not go into Instagram and have this fabulous post and then go, oh, post that on Facebook for me. That's lazy. If you love this post that you did on Instagram, go back 2 or 3 days later at a different time of day and post it on Facebook, and that's fine. There's a new audience, it's a different time of day. Somebody might see it again, but it's not that big of a deal. Don't post the same things. They're 2 different platforms, but people are still looking at them right next to each other, just like you are. So I'm going to tell you not to do that. And then just like Kristen was talking about, you want to randomly comment on people's posts, just go through and don't make it about Pampered Chef all the time. Just go in and post so that you are their friend and you're showing up in their post. You ever noticed how, you know, Susie Q sees something of yours and they comment, and then all of a sudden, Susie Q's stuff is always showing up in your feed? It's because now it's recognizing that you guys have a relationship. So go keep those relationships going for them. Lastly, just like Kristen was talking about, University of Google is free. It is free. There is a plethora of training out there. If you are not taking advantage of this, you are missing out. Now, I am going to forewarn you. Every free training you take ends with an advertisement to spend money on their more training. Just make yourself stop. Don't fall for it. Don't buy all these trainings. Pampered Chef has plenty for us. Go take every free training out there by every trainer, because there are plenty of good nuggets out there. I've never once paid for a training. Never. Why? Why would I do that? There is so many out there by some pretty awesome experts, and I can get plenty out of all of those free ones and never buy their stuff. Now, that sounds terrible, but I don't have a lot of money to spend on it, and I want to go soak it in, and I want to learn it all without putting out a whole bunch of money. Maybe at some point I'll find someone who I really feel like I need to get more from, and I'll pay for it, but so far I haven't. So just know, like we were saying, University of Google is free. Pampered Chef training is free. Use your uplines. If you're friends with someone who is doing great stuff on social media, I just reach out and I'm like, hey, Kristen, I have a question. And we are all pretty sharing people in this business, which I love, and my husband has commented on many times, and we just share with you. So take advantage of that. Don't ever feel like you can't reach out to somebody and ask questions.
Absolutely. So some final takeaways. Remember, this is a relationship business. So yes, we didn't talk a lot about at the party. We talked about all after the party, because this is a marathon, not a sprint. And that's coming from experience. I ran the Chicago Marathon a few years ago, and believe me, the training you have to put into it to get to your final destination is way more rewarding than just little tiny sales and things all over the place. So if you're missing that, you're missing out. The relationship starts at the party, just like we covered, but what are you going to do to start those conversations? Okay, so we're going to do an activity with that shortly. How will you get your customers on your customer connection email list and your social media channels? How are you going to go about doing that, making people aware of you and your brand? Because yes, we all have the umbrella of Pampered Chef, but we are all different and offer our customers different things, which is what is special to our business. What personal brand do you want to create? Like I said earlier, I do family mealtime memories, relationships at my own kitchen table, semi-homemade. Laura is making mealtime a reality no matter how busy life is, and it's vital for family relationships. So it's a little bit different, a different take. You're going to see young kids in my pictures and, older kids in her pictures, and, you might relate differently to those things. And then creating a schedule for social media activity. There are tons at University of Google, tons of social media agendas and Schedules, yes, out there that you can plan a month at a time, 2 weeks at a time, 3 months at a time, to help you really just coordinate and organize. Consistent, mixing up your types of posts, commenting, being social on social media, and talking about other things beyond Pampered Chef. And as always, brushing up on your own social media best practices. This changes so quickly. From the time Laura and I started planning this presentation to the time today, we've had to make a plethora of changes. And I only think I've said that word a couple times today. It's just coming out. I don't know. We've had to make a lot of changes to our presentation because of the social media changes that have been happening. And it's up to us to keep on top of that. And we cannot have the sky is falling attitude. You just need to handle it and be positive about it because we are using free platforms. So we are going to, so these are a couple questions that you can write down and make sure you follow up on with yourself. The ideas, how are you going to continue your conversations, what's the personal brand that you're building. The activity that we're going to do is actually going to go back to the party experience. And you do
People
need
are like running out the door because they're scared of
I
what
know,
we're
they're
gonna
like,
make them
"Ah,
do.
I don't want to
Don't leave, it's fun.
This one I actually did at a director retreat back in February, March. And what you're going to do is you're going to pretend like you are in a party. It doesn't matter if it's live or virtual because it's all question-based. For 1 minute, you're going to turn to the person next to you, and you are only allowed to ask them questions. So I'm going to turn to Laura, and I'm going to say, hi, Laura, how do you know our host?
I used to work with her. How about you?
I know her, sorry, I'm gonna just keep asking questions.
Yeah.
You just keep
Oh,
answering.
I'm just answering.
So
Okay,
you used to
sorry.
work with her.
I thought
Where
we were
did you
questioning.
work?
We worked together at, I don't know where.
McDonald's.
McDonald's, yes. God, no. Dear
Were you
Lord,
a
Walmart.
cashier or line cook or
Oh, yeah, I was a cashier.
did you ever have any interesting experiences with people as a cashier?
Oh, my goodness.
So do you guys get the point how as a consultant I'm continually asking questions about herself? And then after the minute, we're going to switch, and Laura's going to ask me questions. And you have to try to just keep continually asking questions. And that's how you start the relationship, whether it's live or virtual. Because in a virtual party, you do the same thing. She answers my question, how do you know our host? I worked with her at McDonald's. Oh, when did you work at McDonald's? What did you do at McDonald's? So on and so forth. And you're going to keep engaging them. And guess what? Did that have anything to do with Pampered Chef? It's about building a relationship so that you gain their trust and then you gain their business.